All right, guys, so before we get into what we're doing to the TBR7, I don't know if you can notice, but there's a difference in the video and in the audio. And that's because we've upgraded our cameras from the Hero 4 Silver to the Hero 6 Black. And I got that mainly because image stabilization. No more shaky video. It'll be a much better quality of video. Working on the audio, we're using the GoPro audio right now. I got the mic adapter so we can run the microphone, hopefully get better audio when that comes in. But that's the reason for this. But so today on the TBR7, we're going to be doing a couple upgrades to her. And one of them we're actually going to be plasti dipping those steel rims gold, just because I love the look of gold alloy rims. Obviously, we'll be just running steels, but this is what we can afford just to look cool. We're running the JT 40-tooth rear. Again, that is like a Hawk running a 43-tooth rear, just because of the 1-inch difference in rear wheel size. Probably the biggest thing that we need to do is address the chain slider. The chain slider that's on the bike is virtually destroyed, and that's only after about 800 miles of use. So that's a big thing to address, especially if you buy one of these bikes new. You want to address this right away. And then the last thing we're doing is we are getting better turn signals, because our rear left turn signal here got completely rusted out. Only one of the LEDs works on it. So we got some nice Amazon turn signals that are actually sequential. I'm actually very interested in how these are going to work and how they're going to look. I think they're going to look great. So let's get started. All right, guys, so as you can see, this chain slider not doing its job. It's hanging off. It's literally just completely off. I tried putting a big old washer here to better hold it in place, because these little tabs here have holes in the swing arm, and that's the only thing really holding it in place. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to address this so it falls within the actual guide part, so it doesn't wear down as fast and just eat up our swing arm. So let's go ahead and take that off really quick. It's just this, and then we'll take a look at them. All right, guys, so here is the one that was on the bike. It looks terrible. You know, the one thing holding it in place broke. This one is still here, but just barely hanging on. And that's mainly because it's not online. And you see the middle guide part that's actually supposed to guide the chain is no longer there. So with the new one, that's how it's supposed to look. These designs from the factory are bad, so you definitely shouldn't just replace it whenever it wears down like that after 800 miles. You should definitely address it. This is just one of those China quality things that you're gonna have to deal with when buying one of these bikes. And the thing I just noticed, after taking this off in the stock position that it was in, the chain has a lot more play in it. So this almost acted like a tightener, to be completely honest, which I find shocking. That shouldn't really that shouldn't have anything to do with your chain slack, yet it does. So I wonder if when we line this up correctly, if it'll adjust that slack or not again, but again, we will have to see. All right, guys, so I put the new guide on just for you to see that you should not just put it on and run it. This is why. It falls off of the center here. Like this is the middle of your chain is supposed to run through this. And as you can see, it is not. So what I'm thinking is, obviously this has to be pushed over this way to fall in line. We are going to have to cut this off and probably drill holes into the swing arm, and then put either rivets or screws or bolts or something through there to hold it in place. There is another video that shows how to do this. Moto Cheese did it. I think what he did was a better way of doing it. I'm gonna have to see if I have a rivet gun. If I don't have a rivet gun, then I'm probably gonna end up using screws to hold it in place, which is probably not as effective as what he did. But yeah, if you want to go check out his video, click right up here. I'll put a tag to it, and let's see if we can get this straightened up. All right, guys, so I got it pretty much lined up. So what I had to do was end up cutting this and then literally scooching it over so that the chain actually falls onto the middle section. I'm probably gonna drill a small hole into the guide here, and then probably put 2 screws and then drill those same holes into the swing arm to keep it in place and just, you know, kind of hold it there. Another thing I want to show is what else I did on that was the top part. I'll show you on the old one. So yeah, on the top part, there's a nipple, kind of like this. Basically on that one, I cut it off and sanded it down flush, because that hole, if you try to put it into that hole in there, it'll screw up the alignment of what it actually should be. So that's how I address that. I'm gonna go ahead and drill 2 holes and put 2 screws in there, tighten them down, and then that should be done. All right, guys, so here's the final product. You see the gap where we cut it from. We just did 1 screw. It's pretty sturdy in there. This was a little loose in here, so what I actually did was just a little bit of double-sided tape, cleaned it up with some brake cleaner and applied it, and that thing, I mean, it does not go anywhere. And as you can see, it falls right on the guide. Everything is perfect. You can see it lines up straight all the way back to the sprocket, and it rides how it should. So that's done. I guess next we will pull off the wheels so we can get the sprocket on and prep them for dip. All right, and a little forewarning here, if you put on another sprocket and used Loctite on these to make sure, you know, they wouldn't come off, which you should do. I couldn't get it off with this, so we had to go get the electric impact. So I think this will do the job. Yep, there it goes. Here we go. We'll go ahead and put the new sprocket on. All right, there's another thing I want to point out about these JT sprockets. So they should sit like that, obviously. And whenever you get a new one, look, that's not all the way in. So what you got to do is grab your sprocket, little piece of like 400 grit sandpaper, and just ever so slightly take away some of the paint on the inside of here, because you need it to go over top of here so you can fit your snap ring on. So if you don't do that, he's gonna have a really tough time getting it on there, or you're not gonna get there all the way, and your sprocket's gonna fall off and you might end up hurting yourself. So definitely make sure you're seating it all the way on. Get the snap ring all the way on. All right, so I got the wheels off the bike. That was a pain in the butt. Don't ask me how I managed to do that by myself. We got the wheels off. I'm gonna go ahead and clean and prep them. I'm not gonna show you the process of plasti dipping things. There's so many videos on it out there. Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and mask them and plasti dip them. And then while in between each coat, I'll start working on the turn signals, because I think you have to take off a couple things up here, because I noticed there's connectors in there, but I think this piece of plastic has to come off. I'm gonna have to find out how to get that off. I think it's as simple as just these and taking the seat off, but I will look in between coats and I will show you that in a second. All right, so we finally finished plasti dipping the wheels. This took a ridiculous amount of time, but man, do they look good. It shines even brighter gold when the light's on it, and darker when it's in the shade, which I think is freaking awesome. So then now we shall move onto the turn signals. All right, guys, so I figured out how to get to the turn signal connectors. You just have to take off your 2 side panels, your seat, your rear rack, and then it's literally just those 2 bolts that go into here to hold the seat down, this little bracket, and then this whole thing lifts off. And then here are your connections for the turn signals. It looks like these are going to be plug and play. Let's see if those are male. They look both male connections. Let's see. Yeah. Looks like it'll work. It'll just be a plug and play application. Now I really should have taken notice what color that was. I guess I can look back on the video. And obviously for the front ones, just take off your front headlight assembly, just pull that off, and then you'll have access to all your wires in here. I'll swap them out, and then we'll see how it looks. All right, so it's well past midnight. I finally got all the turn signals installed, but I ran into an issue. A buddy of mine has these exact same turn signals on his Hawk, and they work just fine. They're supposed to be sequential, but when I turn them on, they'll stick like that. But when the bike runs, or when it has more load, they'll actually work. So, okay, I guess this time it doesn't want to work, but let's turn on the bike. And then they'll work. Now they're not sequential. They kind of show sequential in the beginning, but they don't do it. I'm thinking what I need is resistors. If you guys know anything about that, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what I need to do, because I have no idea. I'm gonna try resistors anyway, if that's the right thing. So thanks for watching today's video, guys. I think the bike looks amazing with these gold wheels. Like, absolutely beautiful. I wish they were aluminum, but gotta deal with the steelies. And I'm very happy with that chain slider modification. Looks slick. They actually roll on the chain slider, and that'll last a lot longer than a stock application. So again, thanks guys for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe, share the video. I'll see you guys later.